Right now, someone is looking at you. Maybe it is real, maybe it is not. But something in you just shifted. Your posture changed, your breathing changed. Some quiet part of your brain fired a signal so fast you did not even notice it, and suddenly you were aware of yourself in a way you were not 1 second ago. That feeling has a name, and the real reason you feel it is far stranger than you think. It did not start in a classroom or an office or on a crowded street. It started somewhere much darker, much older, and much more dangerous. It started in a world where being watched almost always meant one thing: something was about to try to kill you. Your brain is not a modern machine. It is an ancient one, and it was built to survive a world you will never see. Psychologists call it the watched brain effect, the measurable, documented shift in cognition, behavior, and physiology that happens the moment a person believes they are being observed. Researchers at Newcastle University, led by Melissa Bateson and Daniel Nettle, ran a now-famous series of studies in the early 2000s, placing photographs of human eyes above an office coffee station. No rule was posted. No one was watching. Just a printed pair of eyes taped to the wall. Contributions to the honesty box tripled. People cleaned up after themselves more. They behaved, without knowing why, as if someone important was in the room. That is not a social quirk. That is a survival system so deep it responds to a photograph. But to understand why, you have to go back. A long way back. Imagine a grassland. The sun is low, the grass is tall. You are not at the top of this food chain. Not yet, not for most of your species' history. For hundreds of thousands of years, your ancestors were prey as much as they were predators. Leopards hunted them from trees, eagles snatched their young, hyenas tracked them across the savanna. And the one thing every predator had in common was this: before it moved, it watched. The gaze came first, always. So the brains that survived were not the strongest ones. They were the most sensitive ones. The ones that could detect the weight of a gaze before the attack came. The ones that felt something shift in the air when eyes landed on them from across a clearing. That sensitivity did not disappear when you built walls and cities and supermarkets. It is still running right now, inside your skull. Neuroscientist Elon Dinstein and his colleagues have mapped what happens in the human brain when it detects that another person is looking directly at it. The superior temporal sulcus, a fold of cortex deep in the temporal lobe, lights up with unusual intensity. Not when you look at a face turned sideways, not when you look at closed eyes, only when the gaze is direct, only when it is aimed at you. This same region is ancient. It predates language. It predates tools. It is one of the oldest social processors in the primate brain. You were built to feel this. And here is where it gets strange. Because the fear of being watched is not one thing. It is at least three, layered on top of each other like sediment over stone. The first layer is predator detection. That one you already understand. The gaze meant danger. The gaze meant you were being assessed. And assessment, in the animal world, almost always precedes an attack or a retreat. Your nervous system still treats a stranger's prolonged stare as a potential threat signal. That is why eye contact past a certain length stops being connection and starts being confrontation. Your body crosses a wire it cannot uncross. The second layer is social evaluation. Humans are the most deeply social species on Earth. Your ancestors did not survive alone. They survived in groups, and those groups ran on reputation. If you were seen doing something shameful, something that cost the group, you could be excluded. And exclusion for most of human history was a death sentence. The person who was cast out of the tribe in winter did not usually survive the season, so your brain evolved an alarm system for judgment. The moment you feel watched, it asks, what are they thinking about me? What do they see? Will they approve? The anxiety you feel on a stage, in an interview, walking into a room of strangers, that is not weakness. That is your ancestral exclusion alarm going off in a world it was not designed for. Researcher Mark Leary at Duke University spent decades studying what he called sociometer theory, the idea that self-esteem is not actually about how you feel about yourself in isolation. It is a real-time meter of your perceived social acceptance. When you feel watched and judged, your sociometer drops. Your brain reads that drop as a threat to survival. The stress response it triggers is the same class of response your body uses for physical danger. Cortisol, elevated heart rate, hypervigilance. Your body cannot tell the difference between being stared at by a predator and being stared